Had a very vivid session earlier today with Anna, who is someone I've been working with for a few months now. And she has taken the pointing of every thought referring and reminding us to step into sensation and applied it in a very diligent and dedicated way. From there, she's begun to have quite a few insights. And this interview is a demonstration of someone who is currently undergoing some of the most interesting aspects of awakening in the midst. These types of interviews are pretty rare. These types of conversations don't always show up in a way that can be presented to the public. So it's really exciting to be able to share this so that you can see how powerful some of these insights are and how vivid it can be while being in the midst. This also might help address some of the doubts that may show up about the simplicity of just being with what is, the simplicity of just stepping into sensation and allowing that to be a transitionary space for more unfolding. The insights that pour out of Anna are pretty vivid, and because they are so much in the moment, it has kind of a powerful effect. Hopefully, you find a lot of value in this particular conversation. And as always, feel free to leave any comments or questions in the comments below, and we'll get to those.
Something interesting happens this morning. So since last time we have chatted, I have been like really trying to keep attention in the body and the sensations as much as I can remember. I actually got a smartwatch to put reminder to remind me every 15 minutes to do so. And so I've been doing that, and like sometimes I just like close my eyes, and any moment I have, I just like dive into it, and it becomes like more interesting and more interesting and then more like yeah, and you discover quite a lot of new things what you didn't know before. You actually see how big difference is between here and that depth. That's like oceanic depth. Endless and completely unknown. Mind is reacting very strangely. It's like, it's like making like a wee step into, like you breaking into someone's like a big, massive garden. It's like a big munchkin's house, and like you make one step and just, not to be caught in, and just, like exploring, like no trouble. You're not going to get into troubles, but same time, like there is just like a wee bit of that like fear, just in case if something happens and you don't know what. But so like stepping in, oh yeah, actually cool, and then something happens and pulls back again, and like "Oh, actually wasn't that bad, so let's go deeper," and just like a wee steps and pulling back and wee steps and pulling back. And yesterday something really scared it yesterday, and then yeah, that's right. So it's like yesterday it was like um if all the times there was this idea, like, oh, this is my body and I know the body and like I control body and all this. So, like deepening into all them sensations, mind just realizes, uh-oh, I have no control whatsoever. and, and then it was like, like mind really like picturing things in this head anyway. And so I was sitting like working, and I can see, like that picture comes up, like mind is splashing on the top of the surface of the water, like the sun is shining and everything is good. And then down there is just like unknown. And then mind like, oh my God, I'm actually scared to be in this unknown body. To do what way to release all that. You just can lie there and just like, wow. Because since first initial shift, I like that day when that happened, I got like very strong shakes for about 3 4 minutes. Body just like literally was shaking like on electrocuted. And since that time, I have been having some shakes, but like I know things like this happen, so I didn't really pass and no any remarks, no worries and things like this. But now when I was going into sensations, it kind of hit me. That's actually all what people do, tension release exercise, to release. So that's actually is happening naturally itself.
Hmm.
That's what body does.
Hmm.
Yeah, because see, like, let's call it fear. Like, that's another thing. I realize there is no such thing as fear or sadness or anything. You can. It's just like that movement is like that energy is just it's so big. It's so everywhere, all over. It's moving all the time. You can't put a finger on it. Once you say this is this, it's gone. It's gone. It's not there anymore. It's completely changed. So you can't actually say this is that or this is that or something. And like once you try to say, oh, this is sadness or this is fear, you limit it. You limit it to something so tiny. And it doesn't completely. It's you can't do that. So yeah, a sadness. Woke up like, feeling a wee bit sad. And I'm just like, okay. But I can see that it's here. So and then I just thought like, what am I feeling in the body? Or like, what does it feel in the body like? And I just go in and just, like I was just like, oh my gosh, it's completely different planet. There was no even sign of sadness. And mine just, like, and then oh my gosh, all the time I thought I'm a human and I can only splash on the surface. Now I can actually be a mermaid and go dive in and enjoy that. Explore new world. So I'm lying there and see, like what we normally call like fear, that's energetic movement like all around the body. It's just, like coming up and like really just like a seaweed movement, like that type of way it's moving. It's beautiful actually. And it's that, like something's moving and then you can see like body getting tense and it shakes and shrinks and like cries coming out different kind of ways, but it's beautiful, really. It's beautiful as long as mind doesn't get involved. Oh, I need to do this something else and I need to do that, I need to sort out that. Body just perfectly does everything itself. It's like wow. Really. But anyways, so I was lying there really enjoying everything what is happening. And next thing happened, um something. Okay, I'll try to describe it. So basically it felt like fall, but not you fall in somewhere, like very fast, but like in the like going down in water, slow fall that way. And nothing around you, and nothing to hold on, but there was no grasping, and was no panic, but disorientation. And then, like I could see like body and mind start to react, and then I just let body do everything. And body just like released whatever that reaction was. I sat up, cry came out, and that's it. Just as simple as that. I'm just like, I'm really actually amazed about this. But I remember when I started, like being interested in all this awakening thing back in 2019, I had something. I actually remembered that today because I completely, just forgot about it. 3 cases were like this. Once I remember, twice was when I was waking up at night. I wake up and it just feels like you're a dot in space and there's nothing there, just blackness, darkness, complete nothingness. And mine just freaked out. And I remember, like it wakes up, eyes are closed, it's dark, and there's nothing is there. And I was just like panic, and then it builds up reality like Minecraft. Like oh, back to normal.
Yep. Mm.
And once I was walking in the forest, each one now I know I wasn't asleep and that wasn't dark, it was daylight. And I just walked, I can't even remember what I was doing, but I remember I was walking and it just felt like ground opened and you just fall into it. Like, back again. So I think it was something like this morning, but just mine didn't get as terrified this time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is where Christianity points to something that most people take literally. It talks about the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. That piece, the Father being the manager, the authoritarian, the one who's in charge, the Son being the body. This is the body of Christ given for you. And the Holy Spirit, that experience of maybe nothingness, being an empty space, right? A lot of people will have an experience stepping from the mind into the I am, into this vast openness. But what happens is the bypass still occurs with the body. So what you're teaching yourself now is this is the ultimate space of transition, that it doesn't have to have this suddenness in that way. As you allow yourself to feel in the body, you're having the same experience, but you're not bypassing anything that's attempting to yank you back. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
This
Okay.
is this is why the pointing here, for some reason, naturally says feel what you feel. Because
Yeah.
there, if there's nothing bypassed and you're just feeling what you feel, it still takes you all the way there.
Because like let me guess. Once like mind goes into body and sees there is actually nothing to be afraid of. It's not jumping out. It knows, like trusting,
This is how
learning to let go and trusting.
this is how we let go by feeling. This is trust by feeling. That's it. All these
Yeah.
things happen automatically by allowing our body, our awareness to be exactly with what is present, and that's sensation. And
Yeah.
you're having insights about what these thoughts are telling you, what these emotions seem to be, and you still might have, it comes up this way, some suddenness or some panic every once in a while, but you're proving to the identity that you're going to be just fine, and it starts letting itself go.
Yeah. Makes total sense.
This is how we prevent ourselves from becoming extremely destabilized. You allow yourself to, you can just do this all the time. Keep doing it all the time. Sometimes it might be a little more challenging, other times not, but before you realize it, you're always with it. And when you're always with it, this isn't telling you any stories because you're experiencing it directly. That's pretty powerful. And then it's just a transitionary space. It's a sense gate, as the Buddhists would say, but it takes you on its own. You don't even have to do anything.
Mm-hmm. And I can say, like, with that, Adya calls it mind awakening, like when that vastness, like spaciousness. But you're out of body, exactly as you said, and you see with that what that's emptiness, like nothingness, what is that experience was today. If before, even like sitting, in that space of awareness, that vastness, it just felt like empty, cold, empty. Today it was, I can't, okay, it was empty, like, but it didn't feel cold, empty. It just like aliveness.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's has different, that's looks different as well.
It
Oh, yes.
it changes a lot too. I mean, we just can't really know. So it could be something entirely different if it when it seems to make another appearance. So it just will be what it is.
Okay.
Maybe it won't even have a sense of emptiness. I mean, it doesn't, it's strange that way. Sometimes it's vast nothing, seemingly. Uh, I don't know how to describe it. Infinite depth. Other times, everything's just right here.
Right here, you mean that when that car in front of me felt like that is in my stomach?
Yeah, where
Right here?
everything is right. Everything is right.
Just right, like in you.
There is no depth. It's just right here.
Yeah, yeah. I had like I know what you're talking about. Like this was once very like very obvious, that car in front of me, just like oh, it's just like here. And mine was just like oh, oh, oh.
And all that experience is of fear. We could just say it's the mind's attempt to orient to something that it can't.
Mhm.
But we don't even have to label it. And here's the best part. You're already having these insights about sadness is not everything's moving and changing here. How could I call this anything? Fear's the same.
Any emotions.
So
You
when
can't
fear
influence them.
arises, though, pay attention because there's thought. It's literally just thought.
It probably happens so quick I can't even catch it.
But you will be able to because here is where time begins to collapse. And so the more you allow yourself to be engaged with this is presence. You will just be in presence. There will be no sense of anything moving quickly. Everything is at an equivalent pace, and you'll be able to see everything so clearly, not as you per se, but it will be seen. And in that space, you'll see the exact mechanism that's on repeat, that's saying, oh, or whatever it's saying.
Mm, okay.
And so it's just noticing. You don't have to actually do anything. Just keep allowing attention to get wide, so to speak. It gets wider. We somehow are able to perceive thought more clearly when we are completely engaged with sensation. And when we see those thoughts more clearly, we begin to see how absurd they are. It almost be it's part of the cosmic joke. It's like the punchline of a cosmic joke. We go, what? But without even language. It's not even like that. It's like this. Huh? It's just like this. What is that? A sense of confusion about. Wait, that has meaning. I don't.
I think mine is, like getting that direction because, like there are sometimes I'm still, like still affected by thoughts pretty strong at times. But there are times, like when it's catching up itself on self-created stories, and then, like about awakening, it's never going to happen to you. You're never going to get it. And that's just like, what the heck?
Doubt. So you can even call it out as doubt. Notice it, doubt. And as soon as you
Mhm.
notice doubt, that's a reminder to re-engage because doubt only occurs when there's a reluctance to engage. Once you're engaged, the doubt cannot occur. So, and it's okay. Here's the best part about this. Taking this and putting it into a bigger picture for you, what you're experiencing by allowing yourself to just go into this infinite ocean of experience is you are experiencing natural meditation. This is natural meditation. It can happen with eyes open, doesn't have to be eyes closed. Then you can start to ask yourself, is it here? Is it here? Everywhere you go, all the time, every little piece of every part of your existence, is there a change? Is it here? Can I be always immersed in this, even if the body seems to be moving? And I think here's what you'll find that, oh, there's a small boundary or a line that the mind wants to draw and say, okay, here your mind identified. Here, I'll be a little more relaxed. And then when you find that line, you can start to see that there's certain thoughts that arise in those circumstances. Driving, going, interacting with people, whatever it is. And that's it. You're already showing yourself. Now you're showing yourself at your most still. You can and always are doing this. Now, does it apply everywhere? Or is it only when you're physically still? And I think that's where it starts to get fun. This is where we experiment and engage with more curiosity.
Mm.
We almost,
I actually do that when I'm driving because like driving happens like more or less automatically anyway,
yeah, of
if you're not
course.
learning. So, like while I'm driving, I just, like I normally put like Fonzie, something like an audiobook or something, and then just, like checking into sensations, like what feels, what my legs feel, like what hands feel, and just like everything, just like, like how you feel on the seat and things like this.
Mm,
So,
good.
yeah, sometimes when I remember when I'm walking, I'm doing the same as well.
Where does this not occur? That's all. And you don't even have to answer that. That's the curiosity. Where is this not the case? Because when you said, well, sometimes I get into mind identification, that's an indication that there's something saying not here. But that's in that very moment where you realize those thoughts are starting to begin, you go, oh, and then you check in and see, is it here? And then that's where it becomes really interesting because it's not just when we're in certain places, it is everything, everywhere.
It's very strange. I don't know how to say this, but it's very odd kind of. It feels like with like with going into them sensations. One day I was at work and just like attention is inside, and next thing I just like I couldn't sense body. I just felt like air. The, whatever your air. And today we went outside and I'm walking out in the street and then we sat down for dinner and I'm sitting there and just like, oh my gosh, I can't. I just felt like, if you were all the time like this, like you felt like this, I just felt like you suddenly like like a puddle, you just went everywhere and just like trying to get shape myself back. And then I just it doesn't feel like you're everything, I can't say that, but it's like it's hard to get where you are, where you are not, where you're not, but it's like sameness, that type of way. Yeah, it's like you can't even say like you see bodies there, you can't say you're not separated, but it's just like yeah, you like merge.
Yeah.
Very strange feeling.
Hmm. And that's perfect. This is just how the appearances seem to be. There's no problem there. It's probably not dominated by thought. Doesn't seem to be an issue. This is where it gets really interesting because this is the sensations are just a training ground to give us insight to thought to some degree, and then all bets are off. It shows up however it's going to show up. So you might evaporate, you might become a rock. It's like that.
Okay.
And even then, those are just conceptual ideas. It gets pretty wild. But somehow you're perfectly fine throughout all of it, and you're still somehow functioning, and people around you have no idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because sometimes when you go like this and it's just like, uh-oh, you kinda like disappear.
Yeah.
Not like you disappear, but that's what how mind interprets that. And then like people obviously like see none. They don't know
And
anything.
this is a really beautiful medicine for doubt because you've shown yourself that everything still works out just fine. And even when you allow yourself to just be with whatever seems to be showing up,
There
see,
was one
there was
one
no
night.
consequence.
No, no, it just like what else is very, very like not a strange, but you kind of anything like this comes up, I was just like, but that's the way it is. That's the way it's always was. Just for some reason, I wasn't able to see it. It's not like, oh my gosh, wow, whoa, whoa, something, like miracles. It's just like,
Right.
that's normal. And you know what mind actually does? And that's all? And that's all?
Right. Because the mind is the one that has the story about it being like a, oh,
Yeah, yeah. I just like, it has to be something so grandiose. And that's all? Like something I remember like when I started doing this, you walk there outside and just like, where do you begin and where's this end? Like how can can you separate this? Can you separate this from whatever yourself? Like can you just separate it? Can you take yourself out of it? And you can see like not, it's impossible. And just, oh yeah, okay, there is actually no like separation. It's like one oneness, everything is included. And that's all? But it's always been like
Yes.
this. Yeah, because expectations, it has to be something. Wow.
Mhm. And and sometimes it is really surprising, but maybe not in the way that the mind thinks it should be.
So basically, this emptiness, is that like mind is like looking within itself?
I don't know how to describe it.
Uh,
There's real way to even pinpoint what it is. It just seems to be a very fundamental aspect of this universe. No idea what it is.
okay. But that
That's
is that the emptiness everyone's talking about?
maybe,
Mind needs to know.
maybe.
But tell me, I need to know.
Here's what you might start to notice. The questions will begin to cease also. There will just be a sense of knowing. But that doesn't mean
Yeah.
curiosity ceases. It's infinitely curious, but there's no more question. It's just, yep, here we are.
Actually, all them insights, they become this type of way. It's just like they become so like quiet. They become very subtle and very quiet. There's no like, wow, oh my gosh. Without all this, it's just like, oh, yeah, okay, that's right. Just like this, it's just like quiet and down.
Mm. A lot of people feel no need to talk about it or share it even.
Oh no, 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 I do.
And it's probably okay that you do, but just pay attention to if that's compensating for something. Just
Oh, that that.
always watch, always be aware, just complete attention there.
Mhm.
But it doesn't actually matter either way. No insight has any meaning anyway. At the same
Mm.
time, they can be so meaningful. It can have that sense of it's just so utterly true, so utterly connected and filled with mm, just pristine, perfect experience that it can feel meaningful without actually having meaning, which is okay.
Mm.
And there's another piece there of as you engage in this way, you might start to find that there's more depth in that stillness and that silence that has you ask the question of what is obvious. All this just becomes obvious. And if it's obvious, what is there to talk about?
Yeah, yeah. I I don't understand, but I sense what you're saying.
So, you know, this is the fun part though. It gets fun and maybe sometimes it comes up heavy or it feels sharp or uncomfortable. However it is, you just keep engaging in this way, there's no problem. And it's not like you're really doing anything, you're just not getting in the way.
Yeah, totally. Exactly as you said. Exactly as you said. You just, like just step back and just watch the show. Yeah.
And then
And
you
it's
can start
actually
playing.
is becoming fun.
Can you become the ocean? Just a gentle question. It's not even a doing. How deeply can I fall? That sense of falling, by the way, that sense of weightlessness it seems to be a really common experience for people, just like slow sinking, floating, falling feeling. And sometimes that can accelerate. Not to give
Ah,
you a sense of what's coming because it's different really for
for
everybody.
everyone.
But maybe that's what enlightenment means. It means weightlessness, to become light.
Yeah. Because you see, like I heard so many people saying about this fall and fall and fall, and that here imagined, like you jump from a cliff and just go down that fall. And I was like, oh my gosh, no way, no way, no way, no way. Just not that. It's so scary. But they see, like going down in the water. I have seen that so many times, like when you just close your eyes and just sit with this presence. And there is that feeling like you're going down. Like in the films when you see dead bodies going down.
Mhm.
Just this feeling. It's just, like in the water, it just holding you and you just slowly, slowly, slowly. It's just such a peaceful feeling. Extremely peaceful feeling. So yeah.
Yeah.
One night I woke up and there was that, okay, for communication purpose, a fear response body, like, no, I was meditating. And the next thing like whatever is happening, body is just releasing itself, shaking, and we cry after that. And mine just completely, like just uninvolved, just, oh wow, I want it again. Mine really reminds like a, like a wee kid, like a child. It wants to play. It wants to play. It wants to create. It wants to know. I just like, what is this? What's that? Let's do this. And that. I just like, it's so excited. So like, oh
This
my God.
this
Like
is
a dog, like spaniel.
That's it. Like a spaniel. This is beautiful. This is an illustration of the innocence of thought, the innocence of mind, the innocence of identity. It's still innocent. And that's where it seems like this equanimity happens. Because if it just engages in curiosity without this desperate need to know, to have a finality, a final answer, then what's the difference between that and everything else? It goes like this. It just is engaged in this lightness of curiosity. See, no problem. This is where one discovers there's no problem with thoughts either.
Mm.
But it doesn't always happen immediately for people. But this kind of insight can be useful pointing for people to hear, oh, okay. So that's how it's showing up. And it might not always show up exactly this way, but the essence, if we zoom out, the essence of everyone's experience is exactly the same. But if we zoom in, the details of the experience is absolutely different.
Okay.
This is why we must be careful when entertaining somebody's awakening story, because sometimes we get caught up in the detail and we're overlooking what's directly here. But if we zoom out a little bit, we start to see, oh, there's so many similarities.
Yeah.
There is nobody else. We're all this. There's no identity, there's no separation. This is all this.
About emotional work. I
Hmm.
was like about a week ago. So like a lot of emotional work happening at the moment. A lot of things coming up. And I remember there was something came up about like masculine and feminine side, like I was just like clear seeing, clear understanding, like you really need both. Because masculine, you really, it's that strong, like leading, going forward, moving, and just like going through forest and just going in all them dark corners, like fearless and just, fighting, like a warrior. And then that feminine aspect, like you find something and you handle to mommy, and mommy just, like, here, that's all my babies, all mine, all my lost babies. And let's just integrate.
Okay, perfect. And this is the tip of the spear, so to speak. This is what we find with absolute reality of emptiness and relative reality of form. Is at first they seem to be making an appearance of separation. There's form and then there's emptiness. And then same thing. There's an energy that feels masculine and forward and like a sense of doership or push or something in that energy space. And then there's the absolute surrender of the feminine and this nurturing and all that. Keep exploring a little further and see, is there a dividing line between the two? Are they different? Are they actually different at all? And what you might find is they're not.
They
Form,
actually can't be because they are all in one.
right. But I'm saying in a direct experience way, right?
Yeah,
And it's okay to have the conceptual there as a clue, but just know that it's pointing to what is direct. It's the
yeah.
equivalent of the whole strawberry analogy. If I show you a picture of a strawberry, I tell you everything about it, you're not going to taste it. But when you take a bite, it's a totally different experience. This is where you allow curiosity to investigate a little bit further, and it will naturally take you there. You don't even have to do it or think about it. It's just now opening the attention there too. Is this masculine? Is it only masculine? Is this feminine? Is this only feminine? And then I think what you'll find is what the Heart Sutra points to. Emptiness is form, and form is emptiness. Masculine is feminine, and feminine is masculine, but not apart. Somehow, somehow completely different and exactly the same. Strange. Everything is nothing, nothing is everything. It's this experience of absolute paradox that seems to be at the very core of whatever this reality seems to be. Maybe it's the best way we can perceive it. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. All I know is it's pretty viscerally, perpetually everywhere. To fall in love is to experience a sense of hunger and longing and heartbreak simultaneously. There's a painful aspect of love. Where does this not apply? That's that's the curiosity. You don't have to have an answer, but explore.
See about all this emotional work and there's this masculine feminine. That was when I realized, like anything I went through in my life, everything happened in childhood. It took me exactly where I am now, and everything was needed for me to do what I'm doing now. Because if that harsh upbringing didn't happen, I would be too soft for this. Would be not enough to fight energy.
This is where we find the perfection in the moment. If everything led to this moment and it was perfect, then does it even need to be entertained anymore?
And
What
then, I
do you
remember I
even
was
do you even need to think about it? Do you even need to remember anything anymore in that way? If it was all perfect, I guess it's perfect.
mm,
It's perfection means it's reached emptiness. Now you're here entirely. This happens. This is the how that time collapses. This is where we find the past is the future and the future is the past. That is the experience of the present moment.
it was just, like once I realized this, I had like a first time ever. Because anytime before, like all emotional work, it's just like, and why that is me, and that's all about me, and that's victimhood mindset.
Yeah, it just feels
And
personal.
yeah, and this a first time since I remember myself, there was a feeling of gratitude and appreciation to what is happening and what I'm going through. But also I noticed, like all this emotional stuff, it's actually not mine. There's nothing is mine. It's all humanity is feeling the same thing. It can be 500 years old.
And
Something is coming up there.
come closer. It doesn't have any intrinsic meaning or value. It is just sensation. It is just energy. So when we talk about pain, collective pain of humanity, That's still just a thought. What is pain? This is the investigation. What is the pain? How do I know this is pain? The only way to really know is a narrative and a thought and a belief.
Same with sadness.
All of it. All of it. This is also part of that exploration of the paradox. What in pain is only pain, or is there pleasure in pain? And same thing with pleasure. Is pleasure only pleasure, or does it have a sense of pain? And what we discover is if it's both and neither, then do we need to have a preference at all? And if we don't have a preference, what's holding on? Who's there to protect us? We don't need protection. Nobody's there to protect us. It's just this. No problem.
Mm-hmm.
But do you see how it's getting you closer? So just know that, okay, this emotion work, it's good. You're approaching it naturally anyway. Pierce through what it seems to be every time. In other words, go a little deeper and see if something else shows up. Is it just this, or is there more to it? That's all. And then you might start to see thoughts arising that are very, very subtly telling you about it. You don't like this, or move away, or do something like you were saying before. And just noticing them, that's it. That's it. Just noticing. We don't have to do anything about it. When we notice, we somehow seem to release it into emptiness.
It's just, it comes from nothing and goes back to nothing.
Seems to be the case.
Yeah.
But even then, we can't know. It just seems to be that way. It seems to be all of this is a flickering, flashing expression or appearance that's in and out. Boop, gone, here, gone, boop, gone, here, gone, gone and here, gone and here and gone, 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 here, gone, like this, over and over and
Same
over.
as in the body.
Everywhere. The body, these insights that are arising for you, the body's a perfect training ground because this is like a little mini universe of experience that demonstrates what everything is and nothing. To be with that constant churning and strangeness of energy and sensation is to be with exactly how the rest of this universe seems to be. It's the same.
It's like what's inside reflecting outside.
Yeah, well, then you start to ask, is there an inside? Is there an outside? See?
I actually have been asking this question because I remember one day he went on the seaside and it opens that vastness and you just sit there and you just observe that and just like you just get like and I remember like I woke up one day and just like, oh my gosh, it's so like so vast and this and that. Oh my gosh, but that's exactly what is inside, just no picture. And you're just in the middle of that. Hold on, there is actually nothing in the middle of that. It's just, like just reflection.
Yeah. And this is where you start to get insight on pointings too. Every pointing that is just really juicy and filled with wisdom is also a contradiction because when Adyashanti says there is no outside world, this is an inside game, he's pointing to a layer of this experience, but there's more. In other words, once we get a complete engagement with what seems to be this inner universe, we spontaneously realize there is no such thing as an inner universe. There's no such thing as an outer universe. It's all this. But these pointings, they have to have a contradictory nature because this path, with the way that identity functions, is it gets fixated on singular truths. It's all pain. This experience was all suffering, or this experience was all pleasure. When in reality, there's way more to the story. And because it's an absolute paradox, every pointing must be a contradiction. But that pointing points for a lot of people along the way to investigate in a way that it spontaneously becomes all outside. And then when they look for an inside, they don't find an inside. So then how do I know this is outside? Oh, what? It's just this. But that's where that insight begins to form. These pointings are just still pointings. They're not the moon. The moon can only be directly experienced. Just like the strawberry. It can
Hmm.
only be tasted.
It's like, if you tell 5 years old child how does it feel to fall in love, impossible.
Exactly. Or describe the color red.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Or like
this is
how
just
does it feel
knowing.
to be on the moon? You only can know how it is when you are there.
So that's what this is. The only thing that is ever known, and it's not even really known, it's just directly experienced, is what's present. And it can get pretty wild. It can shift rapidly, just like this, just like the inner world of the sensation. It can also slow down and seem very consistent and then suddenly shift again. It's this way.
It really sounds like bodily sensations.
It's the perfect,
Exactly how you describe
it's
them.
the one piece in what seems to be this human experience that we always have. It's the perfect body of Christ, the whole transitionary space to see it all. It's always right here. Wherever we go, there we are. Wherever we go, there we are, which means it is utter presence. And you're doing it naturally. You don't even really, I know we've had a lot of words. You don't need to figure it out. We don't need to define it. We don't need to create a formula out of this. You're already naturally doing it. Now just stay engaged. That's it. All the time. Because that's the only thing there is anyway.
That's actually, I was thinking as well, because I can see chasing something, running after something. It's nowhere apart from here.
But also, after what?
Exactly, exactly. And then I just like, my gosh, but all what is, it's just, like just go deeper into our sensations, just stay in the body. That's basically all what he can do, just brings his presence into the body. Because I remember a very, very at the very beginning when I started all this, this I am, the presence or whatever you call it. This what can't be called unnamed. So, like I really tried to get my attention back. But that was like here. And then it just feels
And
like Katya says, up and out, and now that is down, in and down.
yeah,
Yeah, you bring exactly the same thing, but you bring it in.
it just seems to it's cosmic. The way that a star is born, or it goes boom, it explodes into existence. And then the way, if it's large enough, a star dies, it goes into a black hole. It seems to be a very cosmic experience that is happening here now all the time as well. Which means if somehow this experience is cosmic in all these senses, then it's not happening anywhere else. It's always been happening here, which means the creation of this universe is happening here now. And
All the time.
the destruction of this universe is happening here now all the time. It's the same. There is no time. There's no then. It's just this. And it becomes so clear because we feel it all the time, perpetually. It's all there is. But that also gives you a lot of insight about death. There is no such thing. That's just another one of these. There is no death. It's just all this.
Black holes, enlarged pictures of eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And that dark bit of the eye.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, that is something what you just want to dive in and just disappears there. It's something so fascinating. It's so magnificent. I just like
We,
every time I look at that, I just like
yeah,
I
yeah,
just want to dive in.
yeah. That, this, we could call it shadow work, but don't put any meaning on that. It just means the aspect of creation that is destruction. That's all it is. It's the same thing. At the center of every galaxy in this universe is a supermassive black hole. Literally, all things that exist are surrounding the thing that destroys all things. How interesting.
That's actually it's funny.
Yeah.
It's like a big bang. It's like pulsation, like brazen.
Yes. It's a vibration of creation destruction happening maybe initially so fast we can't perceive it, and then we start to perceive it very clearly. And that will give you insights onto into everything. You become God, but not God alone. You become God together, collectively.
I remember one day, like a while ago, I watched TV and they were taking video in the forest and then hyperlapsed it. And you can see like a whole forest is breathing, literally breathing. Exactly the same as I was like, and that was just like, oh my gosh. It was like you feel that everything is just one thing breathing.
I mean, you go deeper amount of time and you watch geology, you watch the Earth's crust do this, you watch mountains completely crumble and then grow, just breathing. Same thing.
It's just like this movement all the time, in, out, just in different rhythms.
This is the
It's
this is the paradox.
it's wild.
It's it.
It's just all the teachers, wow, wow, just wow. That's all what you can say. Wow.
And it's such a powerful experience. Wow.
I when you see probably more than I do.
Oh, oh, you see everything there. You see everything that can be seen. It's just a matter of, does it have to come through the filter of this, or will you see it directly? That's all.
You
And
know
then
what else
and then
happened to
that
me?
experience gets weird too. Thought, thought is a thought at its most fundamental arises in the moment as well. But the perception when it comes to content in the thought seems to be taking place in the past. Very strange.
Yeah. I was watching one video today and the Todd Pernell's partner, he was pointing no self, no separation, something like that. I can't remember exactly, but because I did really look, and one day I remember I was looking like, and I could clearly see there is no distance in seeing. I was like, oh my gosh, but there is no distance. And then I just, like I start, like looking, especially when you look outside, you can just, it's like flatness, like screen, and your screen and everything on the screen. It's that type of way. But today I was listening to that video and mine just like, no, 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 I don't want it. I don't want it. It
That
knows exactly, but it's just like, no, no, no.
that's the deepest space of no orientation, which the mind will tell you the experience of that. It can feel like an acceleration of sensation or experience or falling or whatever it may be. The mind will tell you that that means death, or the mind will tell you that that means fear. Whatever the mind says, it's just attempting to figure it out. It just can't. So, as you just keep staying engaged, this will happen on its own. You don't actually need to, there's really no practice for no self. It just becomes obvious on its own.
It's just like something just falls off and
You're
just
you're already in the midst,
opens up.
you're already in the midst of the opening. Just
Mm.
just stay. Just continue to engage and this happens on its own.
Like I remember very when I started, when that one lady, she sat another lady in front of her and she says, just look at me. Just relax and be. And that lady, she started to cry. She says, welcome home. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's what it is. It's just like relax and be. And that's it. Just this. And
Stillness.
you're home. And
Still
you're home. Mhm. It's so beautiful. It's so simple.
Really, it's so
How
simple.
the heck we miss it?
The mind, well, it's because the mind can't see the simplicity. It can't, the mind literally cannot see the present moment at all.
Hmm. So what does recognize this present moment if that is not in mind?
Good question. I mean, I could give you an answer, but it's pointless. How about
Hmm.
you find out?
Okay.
How about you discover? How about you remain curious in that way? That will be the best for you.
No answer is the best answer because, like, I need to know.
Nobody really can answer anyway, but we can get close, but there's still no point. This is
Mm,
the taste of the strawberry. It would be like
mhm,
asking me, or tell me what red looks like.
mhm.
You just have to see it, I
Okay.
guess.
Another thing, um, like say some insights. It's just so much is happening, and something happened in the morning, and like a couple hours later, you forget it. That's like I can't say I'm forgetting things, but it's just like in, out, and I just like,
Yeah,
what did
well,
I just do?
because wherever you are, that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, it literally feels like this. I just like
That's
in, out, in, out, in, out, and then just like,
There's no problem
oh.
with that.
No, there is no problem because it might seem like you're losing memory, but it's not because you can remember anything you do need to remember.
That's right. If
Yeah,
something that needs to be remembered, it will be remembered.
yeah.
You don't have to do anything about it.
And if something doesn't come up, I just whatever. I'll just keep walking.
That's freedom.
Okay. It actually feels, yeah, because like you're not holding, like I need to remember this and this and this, and it doesn't stretch in time. I just like
Just here.
in, out, gone again, next. Okay. Thanks very much.
This is a great session, by the way. Can I
Thank
share?
you.
Would you be okay with me sharing this on the channel?
Okay.
You don't have to. I mean,
No,
truly,
that's okay.
if
That's
intuition
okay.
if intuition ever comes up as no, it's not going to make a difference.
No, no,
But
I'm very open person
I
anyway.
think you're in such a beautiful spot that I think what's being, I don't know why, it just feels clear that whatever you're expressing now could be really useful for other people that are in the midst of doubt.
Okay. Fair enough.
And
Yes, boss.
I can just use your first name if you would prefer. It's up to you.
Yeah.
And what I'll do is I will crop in the video so they can't see your name at the bottom of the screen. And I'll just do a little intro and I'll probably put it out tomorrow morning if you're okay with that.
Thank you very much.
I think it'd be
Because
great.
I definitely would like to see it myself because I have noticed this. I'm getting very excited and then I'm like all over the place.
It's okay.
If I'm
Just
rewatching, it's like,
just
oh yeah.
get all over the place, get excited. You're engaging with this is innocence. This is how innocence works.
I always been like this.
When
Like,
you come back though, when you come home, if you have a dog and you come home and they're so excited to see you, that's innocence. Why do we love it so much? Because they're innocent. It's love, it's compassion. There's nothing wrong with it. Doesn't matter. Be all over the place, it doesn't matter.
I think that's actually been a part of a problem why people kind of like, you're too much because they're like, boom, explosion.
Well, authenticity makes no apology. You are made out of what you are made out of, and that's it. And so
Madness, pure madness.
sometimes it triggers other people's fears and things like that too. It doesn't mean anything about you. You just get to be exactly what you are moment in the moment all the time. No apology. And what you'll find is compassion is still there. You're not hurting anyone. You can't hurt
Uh,
anyone. All you
it's actually
all you can
a
do is
compassion.
express. Yeah, you're
You
compassion.
see that compassion. I can actually feel it's like getting more.
Of course.
Yeah. And another day I was walking and I see this lady, like for external validation, like she's made up herself looking good, but she actually didn't. And then at first, like criticism, judgment, and the next thing, like you realize why she's doing that. And just like, oh my gosh, you actually feel so sorry. But like not like no pity, not a pity, like, oh, I feel sorry for you. But like
Oh
really
no,
just
of course.
here.
That
Yeah.
that's compassion, yes. The only true way to have full compassion for any experience is to be engaged with it here. Because once we can see even the person that initially we just really are disgusted by or we don't like or they seem terrible, and we immediately step into a place of compassion, all we do is we see ourselves right there. We see this nature that is shared. And that's compassion. Yeah.
Not
Let
pain in people.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's all a compensation for pain.
Yeah. Yeah. And like sometimes people behave quite nasty, but like, like attacking and like snapping and all that. But all what I can see is just like I am in agony of pain. They just like literally screaming their pain out, just like help, help, help. And they don't even understand that. And like, in the moments, like you just want just to grab them and just hug them and just warms them, warms them, just just loves them
Hmm.
because it's
And
just like, oh,
that happened for a really long period of time. At grocery stores, I would just go around hugging people all day.
it literally feels like that, like everyone is just like that void for warmth and to be held and comforted. Everyone is just like, I need it, I need it, I need it. It's just like a major lack of that. Yeah.
And and as much as
And
it
this
can
here
appear,
needs it first.
well, it's not even that it needs it first. It's just the only place where it can actually be found.
Yeah. But that's actually is here. Another day.
It can't be found out here.
No, another day I was, like there was something emotional coming up and I was just checking with myself. And I like, one man at work, he done me bad things a few years ago. And I remember this compassion came to him after, like a month later. And I was just because there's a lot of frustration came up on that um hatred, that killer energy. And I'm just checking, like, what do I feel towards him? Just go in there. No, no, no. Like, compassion is definitely not there. And next thing, like, I check for my mom and dad if I feel anything, like irritating towards them. And next thing, like, no, they never got enough love. I just had tears and just, like that cry. And I could see that like love is just like a bowl and it holds everything in it, and if that bowl is empty it just like radiates out, but if that is filled with something you can't really get that what is underneath there, if that is filled with some anger or some resentment with something like that, like mucky dirty, you can't see bottom and it doesn't radiate, but if that becomes empty it just like and
Beautiful.
that is there. I was just like, that's there.
Yeah. And even with that pointing that you can't find it out here, that's one of those initial pointings. It's also a contradiction.
You can't find it. But that's what we are doing. We are all the
It's
time running from here
it
to
it
get it
is it
somewhere
is
there.
actually everywhere. It is actually everything, but we must at least see it first. And it seems to be seen here.
Mm.
And then we
And
see it
then,
everywhere. It's like wholeness once it's discovered here, wholeness everywhere. Awakening everywhere. It's strange, but that seems to be the way.
it's like when Buddha woke up, he realized everyone is awake.
Yeah. And that's why I remind people you're already awake. Just pay attention. How could you not be
You,
awake?
you
You're here.
cannot be. You
You're
cannot
here.
be because this here is all the time here.
You're
You can't
here.
lose it. You
Right.
can't find it because you can't lose it.
What is not awakening? What is not awakening?
Uh-huh.
That's, but it's a realization that seems to come with these contradictory experiences until it becomes clear. So,
Mm.
so that's what pointings are. Pointings are never solid. They're never a, this is the way it is for sure. It's just check it out like this for a second. And then maybe it switches. Maybe it doesn't. Now check it out like this. Now check it out like this. That's all. But it's not solid. It doesn't mean anything. There's no substance.
It's the same as in bodily sensations. It's all
So when
all this.
somebody gets on the channel and says you're full of it, the answer that just comes naturally is yes. How? Of course, there can be no truth in any statement. It could be pointing to something, but the statement itself has no substance.
Mm.
It can never stand alone. But you're experiencing that now. You're tasting it. Don't stop. Stay engaged. Pay attention to the things that want to pull you into disassociation. Just notice them. And even if you're getting pulled into disassociation, it's okay. You don't even have to resist that. Go along with it, but be fully engaged the whole way. That's kind of fun.
Oh yeah, actually heard that somewhere before. Do it intentionally.
Well, this is all intention. Now you're just open to it. So, okay, I'm being disassociated. Now you're watching, you're feeling, you're watching while you're disassociating. Then you ask the question, is this disassociation? And then you suddenly go, what's disassociation? Wherever you go, there you are.
You can't not be.
So,
You can't not be
right,
here.
right. So even when you're there, you're still here. You're always here.
And everything is happening right here
That's
all
it.
the time.
Everything.
It can't be somewhere else.
Only here. There is only here. There is only now. Beautiful. So nice to see you.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.